I recently made a TikTok video that did pretty well, and I mentioned something called sexsomnia, which is something that's new to me. I've kind of known that like some people participate in a little humping and grinding sometimes when they are, or bumping and grinding when they're sleeping, but I didn't know how far it could go. So sexsomnia is this act of participating in sexual activity while you are asleep. So I'm going to go into detail of what it is, kind of touch on some of the things that they think might be the reason. And I'm also going to talk about how some people actually malinger, meaning they lie, saying that they have this sexsomnia when really they're just gross people. So let's get into it. When people do this, when they actually have sexsomnia, they don't know that they're doing it. They generally have to be told by a lover, a roommate, a friend, a family member. Like, can you imagine? That must be so embarrassing. And I've learned recently that people have other sleep disorders, whether it's wetting the bed or sleepwalking, sleep apnea, they are more likely to have sexsomnia. So this is a type of parasomnia, which is abnormal behaviors or unusual behaviors while falling asleep or during sleep. Women that have sexsomnia are more likely to have vocalizations, like I guess orgasmic noises while they sleep or masturbate, whereas men are more likely to do something like have intercourse with somebody while they're next to them, or try to at least, or they might start just like bumping and grinding, kind of like thrusting on the person, which isn't always wanted. Oh God, what's in my hair? That would have bothered me later if it was there the whole video. So the activities that are generally categorized under sexsomnia are fondling, inducing foreplay with a bed partner, pelvic thrusting, behaviors that mimic sexual intercourse, masturbation, of course, actual sexual intercourse, spontaneous orgasm, and a lot of the time they are unaware of the behavior later unless they're told about it. So the first case that was reported was in 1986, but this could have actually happened a long time before that. People might not have known that it happened, or they just didn't want to talk about it because of the shame. It's kind of like uncomfortable to be like, oh my God, what was I doing while I was sleeping? And this isn't the only disorder that has to do with sleep. There's also a binge eating sleep disorder where you can actually binge eat, like go to the kitchen and eat while you're sleeping. That's terrible because, I mean, you can't even enjoy the food. You might as well just have a dream about eating. When people actually are in the state of sexsomnia where they start acting in this way, they're generally in the NREM stage of their sleep. In the NREM, someone might actually talk or walk or hump. So that is like the stage of the sleep. So there's a lot of different stages of sleep, and NREM is like that very deep sleep. And at this point, there's no way to, for some reason, like part of your brain thinks that you're awake, but you lack all logic, and that can be a little bit dangerous. In terms of the cause, it's actually hard to say what causes it. If you think about it, that's actually really hard to study. Imagine like researchers collecting people that say they had sexsomnia and they'd have to watch them sleep and possibly have sex in their sleep. Because people that have this, it's rare and it happens rarely. So that's really hard to study. It's mostly just from people reporting something that already happened, which could be a lie or it could be the truth, but we just don't know all the details. Theories say that anxiety, stress, drugs, and alcohol, those are things that cause sexsomnia. Sharing a bed and having poor sleeping conditions in general may also be the cause. A study found that 8% of people at a Canadian sleep disorder clinic showed symptoms of sexsomnia. Men were almost 3 times more likely than women to have this disorder in this particular study. And the women with sexsomnia in this particular study were more likely to report that they masturbate while they're sleeping. This is of course with people that were in sleep clinics that were in Canada, so this can't be like a representation of the full population, but this is just one example of a study that was done. I didn't actually think about this until someone commented on my TikTok saying that their ex actually used sexsomnia as an excuse to be inappropriate and to actually rape her for non-consensual sex, from what she said in the comments. And then I was researching it, and I found that actually a lot of people use this as a defense in rape cases, which is really messed up. They're like, oh, I have sleepsomnia and I didn't even like mean to actually have sex with her non-consensually. But that's definitely like a very controversial thing, because like how do we know if they're telling the truth? But it's really important to keep that in mind too. Like, it is something that exists, but it's also something that people use as an excuse. It's actually recommended by a lot of sources that if you realize someone tells you that you have sexsomnia, you might want to keep a journal of your sleep patterns just to see like, okay, this happened at this time. You want to let your partners know and your family or anyone you might be living with that this might happen, just to have them protect themselves from you. It would be really scary to think that someone would actually like try to have intercourse with somebody when they're sleeping and then not actually stop. I mean, if they can't wake them up, then that's really messed up. Maybe they are actually doing stuff like that by accident or maybe on purpose. I don't know. I'm sure there's some cases where it's been true on either end. In order to create a protective environment for your loved ones, you might want to sleep in separate rooms, maybe not sleep in the same bed until you get treatment or talk to a doctor about it. Put yourself in a room with a lock so you can't actually sleepwalk out of the room and start humping somebody or doing something messed up. You could also set an alarm that can alert people when you're moving around. So like if let's say you're sleeping in bed with a lover and she notices or he notices that something inappropriate is happening, setting an alarm, like hit the alarm. It's like, wake up, you're doing it again, stop. Also, I've mentioned before that it's caused by alcohol and drugs sometimes. So if you know what the trigger is that's messing with your sleep, that's causing the sexsomnia, definitely stop drinking, stop smoking, doing whatever it is that's causing this, because obviously this can cause a lot of distress to not only the person that has it, but everybody around them. You should definitely talk to a doctor about it, and it's been pretty common that some doctors will recommend a sleep study. So sleep studies are typically conducted at specialized medical facilities. So they will look at your brain waves while you sleep, your heart rate, your breathing patterns, your eye and leg movement to kind of see like how severe it is. So they might actually request that you stay multiple nights so they can get a broader understanding of your sleep patterns. Because if a doctor can understand your sleep patterns, maybe they can understand what's going on and why you end up acting in this way during sleep. So overall, it's really messed up that some people use sexsomnia as an excuse to be really inappropriate. Those people should definitely get in trouble and go to jail. That's messed up. On the other hand, there are some people out there that actually struggle with this. They don't know what's going on, just kind of like sleepwalking or wetting the bed. They're out of control of it. But like I mentioned before, there are some preventative measures to make sure that your condition, if you have it, doesn't cause distress to others. On the other hand, it seems like some people are okay with it. Like if you're already in a consensual relationship, you have sex, maybe like, you know, that's okay with your partner. If they're okay with it, you're okay with it. Like this person commented on my TikTok video saying, my husband and I both have it and we have a very interesting life. She said like, oh, we have a very happy, very interesting marriage. So it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. When it's non-consensual, that's when things can get really risky and messed up. But I just wanted to make a video about it to break it down because it is an interesting one that I just learned about. And it's really important for us to know about what it is so that if we end up dating someone that has it, or if we end up having it ourselves, we know how to approach it and not let it get the best of us. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on bell notifications. I do post every Wednesday. I also just got my nails done and they are mood changing. So right now I'm definitely I'm definitely warm right now because they're bright red, but when I am cold or I put them in cold water, then they change colors. I will see you next week for another video. Bye.